Today's video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. Use promo code CAGES, as in Joe Biden's migrant cages, to get 20% off your next order. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Joe Biden trying to ban quote-unquote assault weapons. Now, straight away before I even get into the video that he put out, I want to know, what is an assault weapon? I have no idea. If you guys know, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see a definition for what this is, because some people say, oh, it's an AR-15. Well, what is an AR-15? It's just a rifle with some, nice little doodads and whatnot on it. But at the end of the day, you pull the trigger one time, one bullet comes out. The same thing as a non-AR-15 rifle. Really, an AR-15 is a style of rifle named after the brand name. Okay, Armalite, that's AR-15. I have an AR-15, or I used to have an AR-15, but I lost it in a tragic boating accident, so I don't have it anymore. But anyway, I had an AR-15 that was not produced by Armalite. Like this shirt right now. This is a polo shirt, but it's not the brand name polo, but it's the same thing. Okay, you got the two buttons right here with the little collar. It's a polo shirt. It's the same thing as AR-15. So what are we talking about when we say assault weapon or assault rifle, really? Now, like I said in the previous video about the Colorado shooter, this guy did his rampage, and immediately, I'm talking about almost instantly, you got Joe Biden out there talking about, oh, we got to ban assault weapons. It was like he was in the basement just sitting on cryo pause, and they pushed the button and said, all right, man, get activated, man, come on. It's like when you're in the fire station and they ring the alarm, like, and they got to go down a little pole or whatever. You got to get on the truck. It was the same thing with him. It's like, okay, we got a tragedy out there in Colorado, mass casualties. You need to go out there and say, hey, we need to ban assault weapons, whatever that really means. Now, there's a video here we got to get into to see exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to watch it with you guys. I've not seen this. I saw like the first 10 seconds of it, but I want to watch it live, well, pre-recorded, but live still, and give you my honest reaction about what he's saying. But what I'm looking for here, just before we even get into it, I'm looking for what an assault weapon is. I really don't know. Let's go ahead and get into it without further ado. And you guys see the headline here. Biden calls for federal assault weapons ban after Boulder shooting. The president also urged the Senate to take up a pair of gun reform bills recently passed by the House. So this was published March 23rd, 2021 at 8:41. That was like right when the whole thing happened, or like a few hours later, a day later, or whatever it was. It was very soon after the whole thing happened. Here he is.
I've been briefed this morning by the Attorney General of the United States, the Director of the FBI. I've spoken with the governor, and I'll be speaking with the mayor on the aircraft. We're working very closely with the state and local law enforcement officials, and they're going to keep me updated as they learn more. As president, I'm going to use all the resources at my disposal to keep the American people safe. Less than a week after the horrific murders of 8 people and the assault on the AAPI community in Georgia.
Okay, AAPI, that means Asian American Pacific Islander. I've not really heard that used a lot, but that's what that means. He's just reading from a teleprompter, really. He never really uses that. That's not even really his style. Let's keep on going, though.
While the flag was still flying half-staff for the tragedy, another American city has been scarred by gun violence and the resulting trauma. And the state, I even hate to say it because we're saying it so often, my heart goes out.
But you know what? I just want to say something right here, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to always say it. In videos like this, I'm going to always say it. When there's a tragedy that involves somebody that might be white at the time, that's when it matters. Whether it be, it's usually the shooter, not so much the victim, but the shooter. If you have a white shooter and white victims, they talk about that. They talk about gun control. If you have a person that could be white and then non-white victims, then that's like a hate crime or something like that. If the person that's a shooter is black and the victims are black, nobody cares at all. There's nothing to be said about it. It's not listed in the official mass shootings. It doesn't even matter at all. Let's keep on going here.
Our hearts go out for the survivors, who had to flee for their lives and who hid, terrified, unsure if they would ever see their families again, their friends again. I commend the exceptional bravery of Officer Eric Talley, and I send my deepest condolence to his family, his close family and 7 children. But when the moment to act came, Officer Tully did not hesitate in his duty, making the ultimate sacrifice in his effort to save lives. That's a definition of an American hero. I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future and to urge my...
Here we go. Here you go to gun control. I mean, instantly, like it's just happened. It just happened. Here he is right now talking about, okay, gun control. That's going to be the solution.
My colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. We can close the loopholes in our background check system, including the Charleston loophole. That's one of the best tools we have right now to prevent gun violence.
I mean, this is not true. Let's just say you ban assault weapons, whatever that is. Let's just say, for sake of argument, because I've not been able to get my answer as of yet, and I don't think in the next 40 seconds you'll be able to answer what an assault weapon is. Let's just say it's the AR-15 style rifle. Let's say that's an assault weapon, right? Okay, but what about the mass number of gun murders that happen in the country that are using handguns? Okay, that's the reality. Actually, the guy in Colorado had an AR pistol. He did not have a rifle. He had an AR pistol. If I can find a picture, I might put it on the screen. But an AR pistol is kind of just a stylized handgun with a modified arm brace. Like, it's not a rifle. It's a pistol. That's what he had. So, I mean, if you're going to ban so-called assault weapons, are you going to ban pistols as well? They're going to say something like, okay, semi-automatic weapons. Well, that's pretty much every weapon, unless you have a pump-action shotgun or a flintlock pistol that you got to load with, you got to load a ball in there every time with the gunpowder and do all that kind of action. You have a semi-automatic weapon. So they're trying to ban all guns. And all that's what they're going to do is just hurt illegal, regular normies from going out there and being able to protect themselves from gun violence, from dangerous people, all right? Like, let's say, for example, a guy breaks into somebody's house with a knife, or they just high on drugs, big, strong, and you have to protect yourself. Well, I'd rather have a gun in that situation 10 times out of 10 than trying to be some kind of knife throwing expert or trying to fight this guy, get into some Krav Maga. I'm not trying to touch this man. I don't know what kind of HIV, AIDS, or disease or nothing. I'm like, okay, you're in my house, sir. So now you got to go ahead and just get dealt with appropriately. But I digress.
The Senate should immediately pass. Let me say it again. The United States Senate, I hope some are listening, should immediately pass the 2 House-passed bills that close loopholes in the background check system. We should also ban assault weapons in the process.
What is that?
God bless you all and those families who are mourning today because of gun violence in Colorado and Georgia, all across the country. We have to act.
So sad.
There's not more of you. There's fewer of you as time goes on. Thank you so much.
Will you introduce new gun legislation, Mr. President?
No questions being answered ever. And it's on Politico.com. I'll put this article and this link in the description box. Is there anything here in the article that might give me something else? Because I don't see, I guess there's some acts. There's some bills that have been passed, and maybe they'll define what an assault weapon is in that particular point in time. But high capacity magazines, they've already done that. I think in California, I think you can't get a magazine with more than 10 rounds in it, which is so silly. It kind of defeats the purpose of having, a rifle. Like, I want to be able to have 30 round, 50 round, or whatever. Because what if I have home invaders, plural, that come into my crib, 4, 5, 10 deep? I'm gonna need more than 10 rounds in my magazine. Simple. All right, so yeah, I don't see anything in here just skimming it. It says anything about what an assault weapon is. But like I said, people are going to say that an assault weapon is like a scary rifle, like an AR style rifle. But the reality is rifles account for very few number of deaths. Rifle deaths are lower than hands and feet, people getting beat to death, shot to death. And also that's lower than knife deaths. Knife deaths account for more deaths than hands and feet. And they both account for more than rifle deaths. Most violent crime, when you're talking about guns, come from handguns. Inner city violence, handguns. That's in mass shootings as well, because a mass shooting is, according to the FBI, DOJ, or whatever, a shooting where 4 or more people get shot at once. They don't have to all die, just get shot. So there was 15 people that got shot at a Chicago house party recently. Was that counted as a mass shooting? It is a mass shooting, but why didn't it get reported? Because there's only certain things that really matter to people. You're talking about the mainstream media and politicians, okay? You can't shine a light on the inner city violence, the black on black, because that makes you racist for some reason. But you can shine a light on other things, it could be at a church or a school or something like that. Or just, it could be pretty much anywhere. If you got a white person involved, then it makes for great TV, because it's a way to attack the white person and or guns in general. When we're talking about black on black, you can't really attack anybody, or quote unquote minority on minority. Let's say it was Hispanic on Hispanic or Asian on Asian. This whole thing that happened in Colorado may disappear from the news because the guy wound up being Asian. He's from Syria, which is in Asia. People say Middle East or whatever, but the Middle East, where is that geographically? Okay, you got 2 continents, Europe and Asia. Which one is it in? It's in Asia. It makes them Asian. All right? The same way you could be from the Indian subcontinent and be Asian, or you could be from Japan and be Asian. You could be from Syria, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkmenistan, and be Asian. That's just what it is. So as I close, I want to say this. Trying to quote unquote ban assault weapons is not going to solve anything. You're talking about rifles. The guy in Colorado had a pistol. That's the reality of what he had. An AR style pistol. It was a pistol, period. All right. It was not a rifle. It was a pistol. And most gun crimes are committed with handguns, pistols. People protect themselves from violent home invaders. You got women out here that are victims of domestic abuse, stalkers, things of that nature. They need guns to protect themselves. When you have the background check, you're trying to make that be longer and longer. That could be a difference between life and death. You got a young lady that's being stalked by somebody, and the police can't really help her. She needs that gun quickly to be able to defend herself against the guy that's out there trying to do something to her. And if she can't get it in time, she might not be able to defend herself when she really needs it. All right. Time is of the essence in these situations. And the criminals, they don't really care about laws, gun laws. They're going to get their guns from south of the border. They already got guns anyway. You have 300 million guns or more that are just out there in the wild right now, privately held or whatever. Not just in gun stores and inventory. I'm talking about in the hands of people. So what you going to do with that? A gun buyback? That's not even really, if I have a gun and I need it to protect myself, I'm not giving it to you. Okay, you can't buy a gun back that you didn't sell me to begin with. And if I bought it fair and square, you can't have it back. It's mine, And if you try to come get it, hey, I lost him in the boating accident, so I don't have him anyway. And try to prove me wrong. Try to say that I don't have him. How about that? And they want to put you on the registry so you can't say, I lost him in the boating accident, or they may charge you for losing your weapons. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment for a reason. First Amendment, freedom of speech. Second Amendment, freedom to right to bear arms. That's just what it is. That's the way it should be. Let's not let the situation scare us into giving up our God-given rights. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Joe Biden was way out of pocket for coming out here right when the Colorado shooting happens to push gun control? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Do you think it's a good idea to pass gun control laws, common sense gun control? Like you can't already get arrested for doing something like, I don't know, killing somebody, unlawfully possessing the gun. And then the guy in Colorado was already known to the FBI. Plus he got a pistol. So I'm not really sure what measures you're going to do to prevent him from doing what he did. I think the better solution would be to allow people to be armed. I think that town in Colorado had pretty tight gun control, and a lot of lefty liberals out there probably didn't want to carry a gun. If you had a bunch of open carriers out there, maybe this guy wouldn't have been so brazen to go and just shoot indiscriminately, because he know he might not make it past the first time he pulled his gun out and tried to shoot somebody. You know, it'd be a guy with the same kind of gun he has that shoots him back. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.